And so for a period of time, I went through um, a difficult place where I was trying to find my people, right? My tribe, my crew, my team, I guess. Hey guys, welcome back to It's All of Your Business on the Why Millie Podcast Network. It's great to have you guys back. My name is Nick, and I am your host for this podcast where we take all of the struggles, failures, setbacks, those it's none of your business moments, and make them all of your business to encourage you and to help you know that you are not alone in going through the struggles and tough times. I'm super pumped about this episode where we are going to dive in and talk about finding your tribe, finding your crew, finding your people, finding your team. I feel like for myself, I'm a very passionate person when it comes to things that I'm interested about. I think that's true for most people, in fact. For myself, though, I feel like I come off a bit overbearing when it comes to the subject of entrepreneurship, goal setting, strategy, and making my way through those things, navigating through life in those regards. My very favorite subject to talk about, my very favorite conversation to have is on the subject of entrepreneurship and business in general. It's something I could talk for hours and hours about. In fact, I would venture to say that there has never been a time when I have exhausted myself in talking about business and entrepreneurship and goal setting and that sort of thing. I'm not sure. I like to tell people this. I don't know how true it is, but I like to tell people that I'm not sure that there's a person alive that can um, to keep up with the conversation whenever I'm engulfed in it. I've had friends try and they swear that they are entrepreneurs and they love it and they can't get enough of the conversation. But 2 or 3 hours in, they are looking like they want to cry or they're going to sleep, and I'm just trucking right along. I love talking about this stuff, and so for a period of time, I went through um, a difficult place where I was trying to find my people, right? My tribe, my crew, my team, I guess. And it was difficult because I was looking everywhere and I would tell my wife, I've got to find these people. I've got to find somebody that is as passionate about this stuff as me. It doesn't even have to be in the same field of entrepreneurship or work, right? It can be in anything, really, like underwater basket weaving, as long as you're passionate and you want to talk growth and strategy and business and money. And like, if you want to get into it, I am there to talk about it with you. But I couldn't find these people. And I would find people that were entrepreneurs or they had their own small business or they even had, a medium-sized business, but they just didn't want to talk about it. And that's the issue. And I know like talk is cheap, right? I get that. When I say talk about it, I don't mean just talking and jabbing jaw, but I mean going into conversation, going into, having like a deep talk and bouncing ideas off each other and learning from each other. Like that is super important. Networking, I guess. I've tried networking groups and I've not found that sort of thing. And so I would like constantly go out and constantly look for people that were like-minded to myself. Still not sure that there are people out there, that there's really anybody out there that loves this conversation as much as I do. There's Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't have access to him. There's Grant Cardone. I don't have access to him. But I feel like after a certain amount of time, they would even get tired of me, right? I'm not sure, like, I know it sounds goofy, but I'm not sure that, like, they could hang, right? I could talk for my poor wife. I'm just telling you guys, my poor wife, uh, she didn't know much, I don't think, about the whole entrepreneurship thing. She was raised in a very traditional setting, graduate high school, go to college, get a degree, get a job, work for 40 years, die, or retire, then die. And so through years, guys, like over a decade of talking and like one-sided conversation, just constantly berating her with entrepreneurship, dreams, goals, aspirations, strategy, execution, plans, goals, like a decade plus. She's now shifted her mindset. But during that time, like I've talked her literally to boredom. Like she's fallen asleep on me, right? She has literally looked at me with misty eyes, almost tears, and been like, "You've got to take a break, right? You've been running for 4 hours straight talking about this. You need to take a break." She says, "I need a break." That's what she says. So I went like on this like, I don't know, journey to find somebody that I could just talk to. And honestly, like, I love everyone that I have relationships and like and network with and talk and DM and all that stuff on Instagram. And I love people that are engaged in the conversation on YouTube and on the Facebook group. You should check all those things out, by the way. Links are in the show notes. However, I still haven't found that person, but I have slowed down my search for that person and really just been focused on doing the work, putting in the work so that it would attract those people to my life. And funny thing happened over the past, I don't know, 6 months, just consistent putting in the work and documenting that. And even like, you can document or you can create. So documenting and creating content around that, all that work being put in, I've started to attract people similar minded to me. And those of you that do follow and that do consider me, like a contact in your life when it comes to your entrepreneurial journey, please know that I'm taking it easy on like the whole, like, I'm not trying to beat down your door yet to talk about this stuff. It is like, I don't know that there's anyone that can handle, I guess, my level of intensity. Okay. And even right now, as I speak, I'm really trying to keep it toned down here on this podcast because I don't want to scare anybody away, right? I don't want to scare anybody away from the podcast, from me, due to my level of intensity when it comes to this conversation and this subject. I have friends that are entrepreneurs, and they like working for themselves, and they like the perks and the freedom. But then on like the weekends, they want to like just chill and take off. I don't want to chill. I don't want to take off. I do take off time because like I have a family and that's super important to me. But it is a difficulty to break away from the work, right? I love the work. I love putting in the work. And so it was by putting in the work, documenting and creating content around that it sort of started to attract people to my life. I'm a huge believer, huge proponent in the law of attraction. I believe that is absolutely something that works. Not just like talking about it, but in that talking about it and putting your actions towards something magically causes things to come toward you. Changing your mindset, changing how you look at the world, how you see things, causes things to come to you and causes doors of opportunity to open for you. Huge proponent of the law of attraction. And so by putting in the work, creating the content, creating and documenting the content, really, it's just started to attract, I guess, my tribe into my life. Thankfully, my wife has opened her point of view towards this. And so I feel like I don't know, I've created like a believer out of her when it comes to entrepreneurship. And like we've talked recently and like, man, I cannot even imagine going back to a day job just because this is where we're at in our life, right? Not saying that there's anything wrong with having a day job, and some people need a day job. If that is you, then absolutely do that thing. But for other people, for myself, like the thought of a day job is a crushing thing, right? Like I could not imagine doing that again because I'm so, I don't know, like, do we want to say addicted to like the freedom, the like doing what you want, when you want, with whom you want, for as long as you want. Like, and we're not like all the way there yet, right? There's still a lot of bridges that have to be crossed and a lot of roads that have to be paved before we can get to that point where, there's millions of dollars to just do whatever you want when you want. But those doors are slowly starting to open. And as we work toward them, as we attract them into our lives, my wife and I, we're seeing them open for us. We're seeing the contacts being made. We are reaching out to people, and they they are receiving our invitation to kind of like join the inner circle, I guess, and all at the same time. At the same time, I am trying my dead level best to not scare people away. I have an intense nature about me. Like, I'm an intense person, and so it's something I work toward very often to make sure that I don't scare people away. Yeah, my message in all of this is just saying, maybe you're a similar type of person. Maybe you're a person that has an interest in something, but no one else around you is interested in it, or no one supports your interest in it. That's a huge thing. I get that a lot from people on Instagram or that I talk to in person. They say, that their family, their wife, their husband, their parents, whoever doesn't support what they're doing because they think it's a big waste of time or a joke. And I just say to that you just have to keep putting in the work. And ultimately, what matters the most is what you think about yourself. You've got to develop the self-confidence to just keep going. Like, I understand to a degree, it matters what your spouse thinks of you and what you're doing. It does matter what my wife thinks of me and what I'm doing. But even if today she said, I don't support what you do anymore, that's not going to change things, right? Because at the end of the day, when I lay my head on my pillow, I have to go to sleep with me, and I have to be proud of and accept the person that I am, and like, you just have to go with those things. So if you have a spouse or you have a relative or parents or in-laws that don't support what you do, keep trucking, keep working at it, keep reaching out, stay focused, stay on the path, and you will find your tribe, or rather, your tribe will find you. And that is the best feeling, knowing you've connected and you've found the people that want to have the same conversation as you. There's that power in networking. There's that power in growing together. And ultimately, by you putting in the work, attracting your tribe or your team to you, you will go so much further than if you stay distracted by looking for the people but not actually putting in the work. I hope that makes sense. Guys, this is a short episode today. I hope you find value in this. And I hope if you did find value that you would subscribe and maybe even leave a little review, 5-star, come on now. Leave a little review on whatever podcast platform that you are listening on. And I thank you for listening for these past few moments. I will catch you guys on the next episode next Friday. It's All of Your Business is brought to you by Ymilly and is a proud member of the Ymilly Podcast Network. If you like the show, be sure to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Nicholas Woolsey, and remember, it's all of your business.